What's going on, my friends? All right, so today we have a few updates, and as always, hit that subscribe and let's get into it. So, look, check this out. All right, so here we have pictures from behind the scenes from the people that were dressed up as the character for that Gotham DC State Farm commercial. And this looks awesome, honestly. This right here, I don't know how DC is literally sleeping on this, but this right here would be dope to see it in live action. It's wild that a commercial ad, less than 2 minutes, is causing much more attention than what James Gunn is doing with his whole DCU reboot. There's more attention with this, and there's so much passion that you can see that whoever did this commercial, they should be the ones that are right now doing this whole reboot because this right here looks really, really good. All right, so apparently Zachary Levi tried desperately to bring Henry Cavill back. And we know it because, of course, the first Shazam and stuff like that. And of course, we know behind the scenes, with the executives and probably budgets and money and all that stuff, we were able to see a part of Henry Cavill, but of course, without, his face being shown and, all that stuff. So it is what it is. So, the director tried, but of course, WB and probably these executives just didn't make it and didn't allow it just because, again, it was money and whatever is just probably going to cost them too much. But it's a shame. But hey, at least we got to give them credit for trying, of course. But with those little Easter eggs and things like that. So I appreciate that. But let's check this one out. Also, The Rock did not allow Zachary Levi to cameo in Black Adam. We already know how Dwayne Johnson is. We know that he's very, full of his ego, of himself, and this is who he is. Of course, he's good playing certain roles, not all of them, but for the most part, I enjoyed what he did with Black Adam. Some of you might not, but I actually enjoyed it, and it would have been awesome if we could have had The Rock, which of course was Black Adam, versus Zachary Levi, which was Shazam, and Henry Cavill as Superman, going at it, within the DCEU. That would have been amazing, honestly. And that's something that I would have want to see, and I know many of us would have appreciate that. But of course, the studio and executives and all the drama behind the scenes, and it is what it is. But we have to keep on fighting because, of course, anything could happen down the road, especially with how things are right now at WB. Here we have a picture of David Cornsweet. It's completely cringe how some fans want a Superman like this, smiling, happy, cheerful. Look, we're not back in the 1950s, At the time of this recording, we're in 2025, and what Zack Snyder was giving us with Man of Steel was ahead of its time. Until this day, we continue to talk about it and in the future. But looking at this image right here of David Cornsweet, nothing against him. It's just what James Gunn is doing and the approach and everything that he's trying to set up with this DCU reboot. We already know what he's about and stuff like that. It's just nothing but a comedy. And it's crazy because talking about comedy, look at what we have. We have the, like there's YouTubers that are talking about it and stuff like that. And here we can see that literally they know in the sense that everybody supports James Gunn knows that what they're building right now is a Guardians of the Galaxy Superman. That's what it is. They screwed up. They know it. And it's too late to fix it. No matter what you do, because we're pretty much like 4 months out. There's so much you can do. This movie is going to completely tank at the box office. There's no saving it at this point. You have to accept it that it's going to tank and it's going to do bad. But it is what it is, and this is what they brought. All right, so Mickey 17 releases on digital platforms on March 25th. It's only 18 days after its theatrical release. This is worse than Joker 2. And what's going to happen? The film is expected to cost 100 million to WB in loss, not profit. Now let's analyze this right here, right? This is the first big movie of WB, and already it's going down the drain because in 18 days after the theatrical release is going straight to streaming. What does that tell you? That this is bad. And then here we have Robert Pattinson, that it's supposed to be the Batman. And look at that. He can't even get this movie off the ground. So therefore, it tells you where WB is heading. We already know this is going to be a massive flop. It already is. And for them to lose 100 million, that's bad, because the next thing that's coming up, we already know that's going to be that Minecraft movie. That's also going to tank. Two movies, and we're just starting the year. That tells you everything. We have Zack Snyder, that he shared this whole thing with sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix. You know, the whole thing with the sell. All right. Look, a lot of people are speculating and they're jumping to conclusions. They're like, well, Zack Snyder supports it. You know, he's telling us and he's hinting us. Look, I'm gonna bust your bubble right now. All right. That doesn't mean nothing. That's just Zack being nice and sharing it. Because of course, Zack Snyder has done that in the past. This is not the first time, and this is not going to be the last time, because he shares also Restore the Snyderverse, and he also shares this one. So regardless, is about getting the message out there. I stand with Restore the Snyderverse, and that's what we want. And I get it. Some of you might be like, well, how can we restore with this, the way that the leadership and the things that are right now at WB? That's where you have to sit back and analyze it. If you keep those wallets closed and we keep on doing what we're doing by making noise on social media like we've been doing, because of course we got these campaigns coming up, we Restore the Snyderverse and whichever one comes after. So that is sending a message to the studio. And not only that, you're seeing that the executives, the shareholders, everybody's watching, even WB and their staff. So when you have Zack Snyder share it, he's just sharing it. That's it. Because Zack is like that. He's nice and he's going to share it. And does this mean that something is going to happen? No, this doesn't mean anything. This just means that Zack Snyder supports it also, And like I tell you, remember when we were fighting for the Snyder Cut, when everybody was against us and a lot of people were giving up and they were like, oh, it's not going to happen, just move on and give up. Majority of us did not give up. That's why we have now the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League, because we made it possible. And I don't care what you say, it's there, and that's all that matters. So for all those people that are like, oh, well, WB had to do it because of the pandemic, that's one reason it happened. But for the most part, is because we kept on demanding it. And even Zack Snyder said it in an interview that WB told Zack, hey, let's release it because the pressure of the fans. Therefore, we won. That's it. It's a huge victory for us. This is why I stand with Restore the Snyderverse, because the way that things are going and they're heading, we can see that they're going downhill. That doesn't mean that WB is going to be sold. We would like it, but let's be realistic. Like I've explained it plenty of times. WB isn't going to sell none of their DC IPs because they make too much money, even if they flop. So what's going to happen after Superman tanks? They're going to have to re-strategize and see everything. And remember, I've been telling y'all about that rumor that David Zaslav wants to move forward with a plan B, that it involves Zack Snyder and David Ayer. Who else wants that? Comcast, and that comes into play in 2026. So it wouldn't make sense to sell right now, and it wouldn't make sense to sell those IPs. I would love to, but realistically, it's not good for business. Because look, we fought this studio when they went through a merger, when they sold with AT&T and everything and stuff like that, and we have the Snyder Cut. If we made that possible, us united, we too can get the studio with a new leadership after James Gunn is gone, and Peter Safran, and eventually David Zaslav. And a new company can acquire WB. Therefore, you still have the studio, which would be, quote unquote, if you want to still call it DC Studios or whatever. The whole point is that it would still be with the same company. It doesn't have to be with the same people that are in charge. It's just the company. Therefore, regardless, whoever acquires it, if it goes up for sale, what's going to happen? You're going to have to restore it. See what I'm saying? So therefore, that brings it all under the umbrella of sell and therefore restore the Snyderverse, because you're restoring something that the fans wanted and you're going to give them something new and you can still build upon that. We need Zack back, and that's the fact. As always, hit that subscribe, drop your comments, and until next time.